record. Let's do it. We're live. Alright, so as I said, Toasted recommended this video. I guess you can call it like a fan request. He recommended two videos from the same guy, Hunter Avallone. Avallone. I don't know him, but I looked back through his catalog, and he seemed like he was one of the culture warriors for that little time period. Set up that Streamlabs. I'll get there. Jesus. But yeah, he seemed like he was into the culture warrior type thing. I don't know exactly which perspective he was coming from. And look, he has fucking 500-something thousand subscribers, and it seems to all be coming from that one time period. Because as you can see, right, 9,000 views for a video six days old, and he has 500,000 subscribers, so he must have fell off or pissed someone off or something. So, as far as the first video goes, where his title is Jimmy Dore is a Creep, it's like, that I'm not really, like, I'm not going to go over this video, because all he's going to do, he's not adding any new perspective that I haven't heard before or anything like that. He's falling on the side of Jimmy Dore did something creepy or some sort of sexual harassment and blah, 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 blah. I know people are tired of this topic, but someone requested it, so I'm going over it. So, this first video, okay, Second video is much more interesting because you'll have someone that he's going to argue with. Right? That always makes things more interesting. So, I guess let's watch it. Here we go. I sped it up, I think. 0.25 speed. Here we go. Here's Hunter Avallone. She Was Asking For It is the title. Here we go.
Flamenco. Hello.
Oh, how's it going?
Are you the Flamenco?
Who's the Flamenco?
I thought I saw something about you once on Kiwi Farms or something. I don't know.
Oh, I definitely do post on there. Yeah. How's it going, buddy?
Going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Your take on Jimmy Dore caught my attention. I was just kind of curious about a couple of things on it.
Okay.
I don't know if you're still interested in talking about that specific subject, but if you are, I'm kind of curious as to what exactly about that situation constitutes sexual harassment.
Yeah, I would think that if he's making comments that are sexual, that are inappropriate for a workplace, then I think that would probably suffice.
Would you say that a skirt that when you bend down shows bare ass to the point that you can see a thong like that, would you say that's appropriate workplace attire?
Possibly not. But do you think that responding with a comment like that is appropriate, or wouldn't it be better to maybe take it to like an HR department?
Well, one Dore, I believe, in that position is below Anna, because Anna is, I believe, an executive producer.
Oh, that's irrelevant. Who are you as a person? Like, for me, I go back to something like honor and principle, but I think these guys are going to argue law versus law, and typical social schematics versus other social schematics and planning and fucking lawyers and shit like that. I want to know about like what your intentions are. What's your code? Like, you know, what type of conditioning maybe you have? On and so forth. What are your moral principles? Those are the things I care about. Right? Because I don't think the law's done anyone really that good. They're just, don't do this or you get punished this way, which isn't a form of morality. That's just a form of fight or flight type of thing. Some sort of fear-based notion of trying to keep stability in society. But anyways, here we go.
And I guess, would you say that it would be sexual harassment if
I got you,
Jimmy
Tony.
Dore did something like that to
What's up, Shiro?
colleague?
It very possibly.
Like his ass crack showing
you know what? It
try to do some new
could
stuff
be.
here.
But furthermore, it's not just
live.
the one comment, the one-off comment. It sounds like there was a pattern of behavior, like also complimenting her on her jeans, which are not inappropriate for a workplace. Telling him, hey, sexy jeans. Can I get some of this for my wife or whatever? Like that, on top of more jokes and comments being made about her in a sexual manner in the workplace. Yes, that constitutes sexual harassment.
Wait, you're asserting that? Wait, so I'm curious. The jeans comment you think is overtly sexual in nature?
Well, not necessarily, but when you pair it with the rest of the behavior, it's obvious that he has a pattern of making comments directed at her about her appearance that are not very appropriate on varying degrees.
Now, just so you guys know, in this other video, where it's just Jimmy Dore is a creep. What he did was he read the text message and immediately said like, "Wow, that's terrible what he did. That's terrible what Jimmy did." Meaning like he didn't. It didn't seem like he was he wasn't asking for evidence. He wasn't asking for like someone corroborate this. Like nothing. So even on the lawyer shit, he's sucking. But let's continue.
Well, I don't think the jeans comment specifically was even commenting towards her appearance, and I also wouldn't say that the.
Didn't he say those are
noting
sexy?
that her
Something like
skirt
those are
was,
nice jeans. I wanna.
I got you, guys.
I want to get a pair for my wife or something. Come on, that's not very appropriate for a workplace environment, dude.
How's
We're
that
doing
not
it live.
appropriate for a
Forgive
workplace
me,
environment?
YouTube.
Are the jeans like skimpy or?
It's just. Do you think he was like sincerely like, hey, those are some really nice jeans. Would you mind letting me know where they are? I'd like to get a pair for my wife. Or do you think he said it in a way that was a little bit
like? Have you never gotten clothes for a significant other?
Okay, so you're saying what's your argument here? Because Anna was wearing a short skirt.
My argument is that I think that the incident in where Jimmy Dore had noted that Anna was wearing a very inappropriate skirt.
I have no idea,
wasn't
Shro.
sexual harassment.
I'm
I think
learning
that
myself.
The main impetus for him writing
don't
an
know.
apology card was that he publicly humiliated her because it sounded as if he made a joke about this and it had gone over a little bit more too much and it kind of like embarrassed her. So I think that's what he was upset about.
Sure. So let me go ahead and read this to you right here. This comes from. Let me go ahead and read this to you.
But I don't think that you okay.
This comes from a legal encyclopedia. Okay, and it's talking about what constitutes sexual harassment. Okay.
No, that's supposed to be up to you. That's supposed to be up to you. It's supposed to be your opinion, your idea of what like this is what constitutes sexual harassment to me. Thus, you can explain it completely and fully. Once you start borrowing from the legal websites or whatever the fuck, now it's like you better be a fucking lawyer and you better be trying a case, right? Even if you are a lawyer but you're a content creator, I want to hear like what you actually believe. I don't care what like you guys, what your argument these two guys are having hold nothing in regards to if someone brings up a lawsuit or whatever or a sexual harassment charge that turns legal, right? Like you guys aren't going to have a say in it. Not really, not in that fucking court hearing. At least it's not. You're not supposed to, right? Unless you're a juror or whatever the fuck. But that's not. You're not supposed to. What I want to hear is, what do you constitute as something that's bad? Let's call it sexual harassment in this particular case. And then you should be able to explain why you feel it's bad, and then do your best to communicate it to the other person. Point blank, period. That's all I care to see. I don't want to hear, like, here's the textbook definition of sexual harassment. Just like Ben Shapiro goes to the textbook definition of anti-Semitic. Or I think Tim Pool did the same thing. Right? To where if you call, like, hey, man, these Israeli troops are behaving like Nazis. If you say that, that's considered anti-Semitic according to whatever lawful book wrote that out. And it's like, is that really like, shouldn't we be reading more into the person than just going with a textbook definition? That's just me. All right, let's continue.
And they're saying that some workplace conduct is clearly sexual harassment. Sure. For example, unwanted kissing, touching, whatever. We get that. But there are also other forms of sexual harassment that can be more subtle. For example, repeated compliments
That's the same link,
of
Tony?
an employee's appearance, commenting on the attractiveness of others in front of an employee, discussing one's sex life, asking an employee about her sex life, making sexual jokes. So yeah, that's a couple of them that Jimmy Dore.
Wasn't that an aspect that Jimmy Dore was actually bringing up in there, and that the part of the premise of the Young Turks is that sometimes, especially if you're like at all familiar with like some of Chank's history, even before.
Sorry guys, live stream.
He's very what's the word? Boisterous. I
know they talk about sex on their
I need a
shows.
producer, don't
I?
I?
They do.
Someone to
I
be
have a
doing this
question
for
you.
me.
Is it okay to rape a prostitute?
I'm literally working 30 different things.
Definitely not.
Okay, so would it be okay to why would just be like, I would actually ask you why not, right? I mean, their job, they have sex all day.
Their job is to have sex consensually for money.
So there's a difference then, right? Just if Anna talks about sex does not.
It's
just if Anna
it's not
hold
cool
on.
to
I just need to finish this.
Well, no, I want to finish what I was saying first. It's just like it's not cool to like rob somebody and then give them money even if they didn't want to sell something.
What's up, Dubster?
That's wrong, right?
What's up, Brian?
So it's kind of bad analogy.
Sorry if I missed you guys. I'm trying to like
whether or not
semi-do a
talks
video
about sex does not justify treating her in an inappropriate manner. That's irrelevant.
Okay, now
entirely.
Two things we'd have
so what
to
that
find
is hold on. Now wait.
Okay.
Because what you're doing right now is you are making excuses.
I'm not
You are
making
making
any excuses
excuses
at
for
all.
sexual harassment in the workplace of a
I'm
former
making
colleague.
excuses for sexual talk going on in that workplace environment. If Anna had gone to Jimmy and said, "Hey, these comments, they're making me feel very uncomfortable. Can you please not do it?" and he continues to do that, then that would be sexual harassment. If they're just like in a environment where sexual comments are the norm and nobody's speaking up about that, then the impetus is on her to let people know that it is making her uncomfortable.
There's a difference between talking about
Mhm.
sex on the show and then making compliments, repeated compliments of an employee's appearance, or making sexual jokes about your colleagues in front of other employees as well.
But you don't know that that's you don't know that that's the context. Like none of us were there. So you're better off saying like if this is the case, then I think this. If this is the case, then I think this. I think what's more important is making character assessments, meaning look at the history and character and all that shit of Anna Kapsparian and her teammates, which will also jump into the argument and try to make sure that Jimmy looks bad or Anna looks good or whatever, right? I would look at all of that. Then do the same for Jimmy Dore. What does he seem to tend to do a lot of times and all that? Pay attention to that. And then read the scenario for what it is, right? If they're both agreeing that this particular scenario happened with the skirt thing, right? And then Jimmy apologized back then, he's claiming he did something wrong, right? Just by apologizing for it, he's making a claim that he did something wrong. Or, you know, that he felt bad. He even said it in his own word, he felt bad about it, or whatever. So then, when Jimmy today says something about this particular topic, and you listen to his language, it's like, man, and his tone and all that, like it seems like a lot of excuse making or lawyering up in a way, like, you know, character lawyering up, where you're just strictly trying to protect your character. That's what it seemed like to me. All the mentions of how short the skirt was or what she was wearing, the mention of everyone left, on and so forth. So that's where my problem with with Jimmy was in the first place, right? It didn't seem like an honorable thing to do to me. But hey, maybe I'm just a simp, or I do the character thing for a living, not paid living, but semi-paid living, kinda, not much, but kinda. But those are the things I care about. The lawyer shit, what they're trying to do, making legal cases. Like, guys, you're not lawyers, and you're not the lawyers in this case. You're outside observers. Make your definitions and defend your argument, or whatever, or concede your argument, whatever. But this type of shit, it's like, how tall was the grass over there? While you're trying to talk about like some real character shit, like rather than getting into these social details of borrowed terms that are outside of the argument you're trying to have in the first place. But whatever. Let's keep playing.
Which would
Right,
literally, which
I don't
is
even know
what
if that
he
made
did to
sense. I just said
humiliate
it.
her and degrade her. And this was a repeated thing. We now have the definition here, right here from the legal encyclopedia, clear as day, spelling out the type of behavior that Jimmy Dore was engaging in was, yes, workplace sexual harassment. Why is it? Just bite the bullet on this one. Like, who cares? Like, it's just sexual harassment. You can still like him. You can still watch his show. It's okay. Like,
I actually don't like Jimmy Dore. I think he's an asshole.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know who you voted for. I don't know if you voted for Trump.
I'm saying though,
I don't know if you voted for Trump or anything. I was just gonna say, like,
So what does that have to do with anything?
yeah. So like, it's, you don't really have too much of a problem of like.
It could work as character
harassment,
assessment for the guy you're
bite the bullet on
talking
who
to, I
cares?
guess. but
Wait. When
once again, they seem like bland, catch you in logical.
Sexual
Sexual
harassment.
assault.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Sexual
Uh-huh.
harassment. You don't seem to have
Okay.
much of an issue with it. So please continue what you were gonna say.
Okay. No, what I'm curious though about that is with the Jimmy Dore thing. do
And
you
Trump
think
said
that
grab him by the
Anna,
pussy. I
like,
think that's
felt
sexual assault,
uncomfortable
right?
with Jimmy
And he
in
probably
this
has
instance?
committed
'Cause
that.
It's really weird that like for years
He's
after
probably
the
had a
supposed incident,
dozens
kept
of
inviting him on
abortions,
to
or paid for
the
dozens of
show
abortions,
that she
and
was
on and so
producing.
forth.
That
Let's be
is
real about
literally
that.
not an
Let's
not lie to
argument against
ourselves.
the fact
No, I
that
think-
even
I
if
think
she
that
wasn't
I
made to
think
feel
it's an
uncomfortable.
argument.
No, even if she was.
I think that her newfound like assertion that he was sexually harassed, the fact that they are no longer on good terms. I think that
I don't care. It's the actions that he is.
Did what Jimmy do, was it shitty or not? Okay, gotcha. He apologized? Okay. What did he say today? Is that shitty or not? is kind of simple. What's Anna doing? Is that shitty? On and on. It's kind of that simple. But they're trying to lawyer up. They're trying to be lawyers when they're not fucking lawyers. Weird. Or maybe they are lawyers. It still ain't the place for it, in my opinion. All right, here we go.
Confess to doing.
I think that clear evidence that she has is he meant that mortified her and that he apologized for. I don't think that we'll be able to find any like prior evidence of sexual harassment or
he acknowledged making comments about her being sexy and her jeans.
This incident.
He acknowledged talking about her being sexy. Or I don't know if he acknowledged her being sexy, but he had called her sexy multiple times, and he acknowledged complimenting her jeans and asking about them, and then also making sexual jokes.
Harassment? If it doesn't bother somebody,
do you realize this is the same type of argument people make to say it's not rape because she liked it?
No, it's not.
Do you realize that you're making the same argument right now?
First
of all, it's irrelevant whether or not. No. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer now.
Well, no, I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer.
First of all, it's irrelevant. Second of all, she was uncomfortable. She was very uncomfortable, and Jimmy Dore said it himself that she was.
When did he say that she said that she was uncomfortable?
No, she was made
How tall was he?
Uncomfortable with the sexual remarks and jokes he was making about her.
I don't think that she was uncomfortable with the sexual aspect of it. I think she was uncomfortable with the fact that she was publicly humiliated when multiple people laughed that she had her bare ass showing. As I would be mortified if somebody brought to the attention that my ass crack was showing at the workplace.
You realize that you would go to HR then. You wouldn't make a degrading. No, you wouldn't make a degrading sexual joke to that person.
So
you would go to HR.
Then, I'm curious then, would we know that there's clear-cut sexual harassment if there was HR filings that was filed by Anna?
What's his shoe size?
For that?
That would probably be helpful.
It'd be really weird.
It sounds the same to me.
Like very public beef that they're not reporting.
What's up, Liam?
Maybe she didn't go to HR. I'm actually making the argument from the other side around. I'm saying that if Jimmy Dore was made to feel uncomfortable with Anna wearing a short skirt, then he could have taken that up with HR. You don't make a sexual degrading comment to the person and embarrass them in front of everyone.
Engage in banter with friends?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't engage in sexual remarks towards colleagues.
You know that
Hey guys, why do we have laws? Probably for some Neanderthal reason, or some Neanderthals came up with the idea of this is how we'll fix right and wrong in the world. Right? It's an attempt at least, but it's still a silly notion of dealing with right and wrong. But it is what it is. So if these laws are supposed to represent rights and wrongs, it's like, oh, why not argue from the right and wrong perspective directly, instead of mealy-mouthing around when you're not fucking lawyers, and this is not a lawyer case for you guys. Why are we doing this? This is my whole problem with argumentation I see nowadays, as far as like in the YouTube sphere. A lot of almost making like all the statistical arguments when someone's not a statistician. I mean, I understand bringing it as a part of your argument, but why not get to the core of what you want to say, especially when it's something that's supposed to be on moral grounds? Say what you think is right and wrong based on your own principles, define them, and then defend it. Defend the idea you're talking about, to where there is no mystery about what's going on here. There's no mystery. Like, what's his name again? Hunter thinks it's wrong. And he can explain why he thinks it's wrong. There's no mystery about it. Well, I hear Hunter's opinion, but is that really illegal to do? Now it's a mystery. Do you see the difference? That's just mine. And then a lot of guys, right? A lot of people, they're secretly arguing right and wrong. But they don't want to say that because that's not acceptable. Where's your law definition for this word or that thing that happened? So they end up arguing the lawyer talk part, but they're not an expert, which means they can end up getting debunked. And then they'll start playing mental gymnastics to defend the legal part that they didn't actually understand in the first place. So why not go with right and wrong, what you think, like, hey, I think sexually harassing a woman is wrong. These are the criteria that I consider to be sexual harassment. I put it on moral grounds, and now I defend it. Defend the idea. Or discuss the idea and figure it out with someone else. On and so forth. But at least I know the entire thing that I'm saying. Otherwise, why don't we just say, shut the fuck up, person A, Hunter, and shut the fuck up, person B, the person he's arguing with, and just get 2 lawyers and have them fucking argue it out. We still won't get to a moral answer. We'll just get straight back to the law answer. Usually with the law, it seems like it can move either way, depending on how good or bad your lawyer is. So it's like we're not really getting anywhere with this, in my opinion. That's just me. But let's play more. Here we go.
An aspect of banter is making ribs at each other, right?
You realize that what you're doing right now is making excuses for sexual harassment. Why are you so intent and just not acknowledging it? We already 5 seconds into this, we were able to pull up this fucking thing and read the definition of sexual harassment and how Jimmy Dore's behavior matches up with that definition. Why are you so intent on defending this?
Does that definition include the unwarranted aspect of it?
It says repeated compliments of an employee's appearance. Commenting on the attractiveness of others in front of an employee.
Actually send me that definition real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Even the lawyer terms are subjective. That's why lawyers can play the case either.
This is in California where they're based.
If you have a really good lawyer, they can probably get you out of something.
I'm saying it's a broad definition. We're talking like it hasn't been filed in a legal sense. Like we're talking
Especially
about
with, like, civil
a broad
cases.
definition on what
Yeah, I guess
constitutes workplace
this be
sexual
criminal
harassment.
or so.
This also is a
know.
broad definition. This is not going to be the specific thing.
Hunter, are you really kidding me right now? Hostile work environment occurs when an employee is subjected to unwelcome physical or verbal contact.
That's
of a
one of
sexual
them.
nature.
Hold on, wait.
Illiterate, dude?
Are
really
you
just
illiterate right now? You're not even reading the entire
You're
argument.
reading
You're not even reading the entire
definition,
fucking article. Dude, I didn't say necessarily that it was a hostile work environment.
Okay,
and
let me
also,
read the entire
it
thing.
was an
Workplace
unwelcome
sexual
physical.
harassment is
Actually,
illegal
hold on,
under
back up.
Title
I would
VII
argue.
Civil Rights Act. Title VII, which employs employers with 15 or more employees, outlaws 2 types of sexual harassment. 1, quid pro quo harassment. Basically, I think you
So because it
understand what
wasn't
that means.
illegal, it's not sexual harassment? Oh my god, dude. You're such a bad faith fucking idiot. Hold on. No, let me pull back here because I'm going to have to mute you because I didn't get to respond. You said a bunch of wrong things. No, because you said a bunch of wrong things and I haven't been able to respond properly.
Well, no, let me finish.
No,
what I
I'm
was
going to
reading,
go ahead and
though.
say what I need to say and then you can say your piece, okay?
All right, buddy.
All right, be good.
I guess this guy's bread tube,
So,
maybe?
First of all, you accuse me of
I
being
don't know.
Blow
illiterate.
you anymore, dude.
You're accusing me of being illiterate, okay? When one,
Yeah, I think
this
I have good.
first of all,
backgrounds to
it
believe
does
that.
sound like it was unwelcome because she was made to feel uncomfortable by it. Second of all,
Well, you were just
this is
denying the
one
aspect
definition.
that it's
I was looking at the
unwelcome.
types of inappropriate conduct. And you can read right here, while overt forms of sexual harassment certainly still happen in the workplace, more subtle forms of harassment are on the rise. And it spells out the subtle ways that people sexually harass their colleagues, in which Jimmy Dore
absolutely.
meets this definition in multiple different ways.
The problem is that when we're going into the examples of what might be more subtle versions of sexual harassment, it's still being predicated based off of this already established definition that lays out unwelcome. So it's not the aspect of it being a sexual comment in nature that makes it sexual harassment. It is the unwelcome nature of it that makes it sexual
Listen, it
harassment.
literally proves my point even further. It says
Can you accept that though? Can you
No.
I don't even have to
because
say
I'm gonna
anything.
go on this first.
They're just exemplifying what I'm
Any
saying.
of the following actions can be sexual harassment if they happen often enough or are severe enough to make an employee uncomfortable, intimidated, or distracted enough to interfere with their work. Anna was both intimidated and uncomfortable by that remark that he made about
You
her
don't even
skirt.
fucking know that because
So
you
much
didn't
so
do a
that he had to write
character
her an
assessment.
apology.
You skipped over that.
But was he writing?
Skipped over
apology
character
because she was
assessment.
sexually humiliated by this?
All right,
Or that
buddy.
there
Hey,
was
I
this
really
aspect of
appreciate you
sexual
coming on
harassment?
here. I think that we've
I
gone
know,
over
dude,
this
you
pretty
looks
well.
really bad.
Okay, I appreciate the conversation. Have fun
dude.
defending workplace sexual harassment, I guess.
Okay.
Hunter mutes when something doesn't go his way. I didn't even mute him, dude. He shut up. Well, you guys heard it.
Oh, okay. So as you can see, they have problems like to even define the term like unwelcomed, right? It's still pulling back to the subjective land, which is the thing I thought they should be arguing from the first fucking place. Except there is no mysteries about it. You define what you mean by unwelcomed. He defines what he means by unwelcomed. Maybe you have to argue about that. Maybe you agree on like, okay, we should call unwelcome this. Does this fall under the category of unwelcomed? Which is essentially saying, are you harming another? Are you encroaching on another? On and so forth. They did no character assessments of Jimmy, no character assessment of Anna, no character assessment of like TYT themselves. They just skip over that and had a lawyer argument without any lawyers in the fucking room. Unreal. And in fact, guess what? A lawyer could watch this discussion from the outside and then wiggle their way in and say, well, I'm an actual law expert. I'm a lawyer. That makes me more correct than you. Even though their initial the place they're actually arguing from seems to be a place of, is this right? Is what Jimmy did, is that right or wrong morally? Is it right or wrong morally? That's the real argument they're having. But since they're putting it in law terms, a lawyer can walk in and say, I'm the expert, so I'm going to tell you what's right and wrong here, or what's lawful or unlawful. So, yeah, this is... I guess that's what this video would be about, right? It'd be about argumentation more than the topic itself. I've gone over the topic. I've talked about it with a bunch of people. I've listened to a bunch of people. It's, yeah. The Jimmy Dore thing, the topic's like, okay. I mean, I'll still argue. It doesn't matter to me, but it's still like at this point. But, yeah. I think there's something to be said about how people argue. It's almost like they're arguing 3 steps away from that fucking house rather than getting, walking into the house and arguing from the core of the actual argument. But, it is what it is. Do I do my thing now? Do I do the subscribe if you feel like, comment, agree? Nah, this is a live clip. Fuck it.